What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Day1Radio right here on LivehiphopDaily. I'm Maurice Garland, one of your co-hosts in the building with my man Brandon Peters. What's happening?
What's good, brother? How you doing, man?
Everything cool, man. You know what I'm saying? We're just up against, Black History Month. And I think we got a person that needs their own Black History Day in the building with us, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know how we get down up here. We gonna tell some stories. We gonna get into it, and it just as y'all will see as you continue to listen and watch, man. It's shit going on. It just so happens this fell into place when we gotta discuss our guy, man, that we lost the other day. You know, so it's
Kobe.
Yeah, man. It's
deep.
It's
deep.
crazy.
You know I'm an LA cat.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get in there. We got to introduce you first, man.
Okay,
we got one of the first to do some of everything, Mr. Drew L. Greer, a.k.a. the real Uncle Drew. You know what I mean? First black footwear product director in the entire sneaker industry.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, first black person to work for Super, and he don't even skate. First black product director at Ralph Lauren, first black VP at Under Armour. You know, a whole lot of firsts, man. This dude paved the way for a lot of my homies, the Mike Parkers, the Sheldons, all of these cats in the industry, man. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show today, man, to discuss some of the game, man. You're going to help a lot of people out with this knowledge.
I was not the first black VP at Under Armour.
Okay,
First black VP on product.
On product at Under Armour. Okay, well, they needed more black folks there.
True.
Absolutely. Shout out to the people, the cool people I know at Under Armour, for sure.
Right.
But yeah, man, you mentioned it earlier, from LA, and we always talk about this whenever we have West Coast guests on. I'm from the Bay, but half my family lives in LA. My family been Jordan Downs, Compton, the whole nine
but
for
years. We know the Bay and LA normally. The Bay and LA normally don't get along.
It depends.
Started in the jail.
It depends.
Latinos, the blacks.
That's true, that part. But we gonna get along today. We good.
Yes. All love. I'm a nomad. I'm a little from everywhere.
Got you, man. So I feel like your history. We can get into that, but I feel like we would be remiss considering that you were very instrumental in so many different things at Nike for, damn near 20 years. You was in there 15 years, which is a long time at any brand.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, and you worked on a lot of stuff, which we'll get into for sure. But I wanted to touch on the work you did with Kobe, not only on videos and went viral, like you guys know, the Aston Martin thing, which we have to ask you, did he actually jump over it, or was that an illusion? But also
he jumped over it.
Here we go.
Just like he jumped over that bed of snakes on Jackass.
But one of the things that I found was very interesting, like since Kobe passed the other day, you've had, some idiots bring up, things that have nothing to do with it, which one of the things was the situation which he was acquitted of in Colorado, and you really were instrumental in helping him rebrand himself and rebrand the Kobe brand after that incident. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I think we know, like, grown man, father, NBA champion, multiple All-Star Kobe. Right. This was young Kobe, where it could have went either way.
Right. First of all, being from LA, I am a Laker fan.
Okay, so I'm a Warrior fan, so that's one of the first beef.
So, but it was wonderful. Like, I'm gonna get to that, but it was wonderful in that Nike finally had an LA athlete.
Yeah.
On the Lakers from a basketball perspective. You know what I mean? It was Shaq before Magic and the rest of that. Cool wore Air Force Ones, but really having a signature guy. So it's wonderful, but take us back. It was 2003 Colorado situation comes up, but we had previously signed Kobe, so I'm excited that I'm gonna get this budget for All-Star. It's about to be cracking. Right. We had some other successful events with Battlegrounds and the rest of it, and they put it on hold. Based on the situation and figuring out how to manage the situation, we have to commend Kobe and what he's done moving forward for women's basketball, girls basketball, and having four daughters, sort of furthering the rebranding of himself and sort of addressing that. We all make mistakes.
Right.
I'm not here to get in all that, but when the situation happened and they finally let us try to figure out what we're going to do from a grassroots sort of standpoint, first thing we did was we figured the hood from an LA standpoint, would be the first people to sort of re-accept him and sort of ride with him. So Kobe lived in Orange County in Newport. You know, he's to and from practice, but he really hadn't got completely integrated into the city. So I put together a grassroots program that had him at the Soul Food Spot, Westchester High School basketball games. That's where him and Trevor Ariza started sort of getting along. Fox Hills Mall, East LA Boys and Girls Club, to start it sort of on the ground floor, ground level of sort of integrating them out, and then that further expand on a global level. But that was the initial sort of the rebrand process of as he, was sort of positioning himself, with around the globe.
And it didn't hurt that, he remained Kobe Bryant on the court. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like one thing that experience taught me about him and other celebrities is like if you still manage to like perform and do the things that people love you for, folks will like forgive you a little bit. Do you think that played a role into like the rebranding as well? Like, oh man, you still doing what I love at a high level.
Again, this has nothing to do with Colorado, but just let me paint a picture for you. And this is what I put together over the years. You grow up in Italy. You come home for summers to hoop. So your basketball game is that of an adult.
Yeah.
But your social skills aren't necessarily there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So your currency, even when you move back to Philly and you're living in the suburbs, and I've spent time from Compton and Watson moving out and get that adjustment. He's going to suburban high school, but when he pulls up into the city, it's his game that's giving him the pass. That's what's slicing through the butter. You get to the NBA, everybody got game.
Yeah.
You're not playing the first 2 years. You 17, you can't get in the club.
Right.
That's what started the disconnect. His game was always at currency, but he had to build his social skills, and it wasn't through over time him getting more comfortable with himself. This is my perspective. Yeah. As well as more younger guys coming into the league.
Right.
That, eventually, as he sort of talked about, he became the OG, what I mean? They respected him on the court. But what's unbelievable that you're seeing in how the impact that he's having, Kobe had a lot of one-on-one relationships with guys. He wasn't on social media pubbing that up, but as you hearing the Chris Pauls, the LeBrons, like, either he inspired cats or he had one-on-one relationships with them.
Yeah.
And was building and feeding, and that's, to me, is going to be, that legacy may be as big as what he's done on the court.
Yeah, that was a trip to me because I was like, it was so many players that spoke on, like, I didn't have a personal relationship with him, but I would get phone calls. I would get texts like, yo, I see you, blah, blah, blah. Like, most stellar, top-notch athletes, and you would know better than I would, don't really do that.
No. I mean, that's his legacy of what separates him from Mike, and people sort of model him. But Mike did that to a certain degree, but there's still a level of separation. But even the bigger factor from a Kobe standpoint, I think who's going to hurt the most is the WNBA.
Yeah. He was an advocate.
Because what women's, they struggled, and we don't even know that till now. Like, because he was doing it in an authentic, on the low way. A lot of it had to do with his daughter, but still.
Yeah.
He was going to bring some currency there, and I hear there's talks that he wanted to own a team in Vegas. Like, he could have been a big part of sort of elevating. Not that that's going to go away. Hopefully somebody else sort of takes that torch. But so from a global, from a women's, from an NBA, from a young cat, and you think about where he was, because Colorado just wasn't about, the unfortunate on the one side. He also was violating the hood code.
Yeah. Absolutely.
From a Shaq standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. He's kind of like
but he ain't no
6'9". You know what I mean? But he really
not that bad.
No, but I'm saying, but at the time, that's what it was. What I'm saying is, I was there, and it's like, he wasn't built like that.
Exactly.
He just melted, and he didn't even really tell the cat just continue to record what he kicked on. He was just letting out, dang, you let dude get off, getting all that. And they put it in the paper. But again, how do you prepare to be a 17? Like, Kobe was the first, you talk about first cats talk about going from high school to the league. High school to the league in L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. Orlando, Philly, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From a Garnett standpoint, L.A.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But he home, like he worked on his game, but all that other stuff had to develop. And as you can see now, think about then and the challenges he had. You know, him and Big Man's big beef was basically, again, my perspective and my interactions with him. Kobe's never told me this directly, and I work with him in spots. It wasn't a long-term sort of relationship or partnership, but Shaq didn't necessarily work on his game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this
But-
well documented.
But with Kobe, I would say there was a little jealousy. Shaq was a social dynamo.
Yeah.
He can go in the locker room, everybody connected with it. With Kobe, you know, it wasn't until the younger guys start coming like where he was a little bit more comfortable because I think he got a better understanding of himself and you know, he wasn't a 17-year-old kid trying to win over some adults or 18-year-old sort of came, you know. So as his game developed and he got more championships, he had cats that were looking up to him and modeled themselves after his game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man.
It hurts, man. It just, you know, and again, I lost a homie last week as well. It's a cat. I played junior college football, went to Ohio U, and he was the cat that inspired me that I could move on. My point there is, and I posted something on Kobe on social media, is I don't get into the celeb piece. Deaf is deaf.
Yeah.
The thing that's different about Kobe is that he connected with so many other people. So it's a
Absolutely.
shared loss.
Yeah.
Loss is loss. You know what I mean? If it's a celebrity or the homie,
Right.
the difference with the homie, that's between me. You don't know nothing about
Yeah.
him. But from a Kobe standpoint,
Connected with everybody.
connected with everybody. And the deal is, it's like,
Over the span of 2-3 decades.
Yeah.
and you think that money, that ain't supposed to happen to somebody with money or that's a hero. You know what I mean? But dude, how do you plan? Again, everybody's not taking a helicopter, but still, it's probably more likely to happen in a car than
Absolutely.
in a helicopter.
Absolutely.
And the thing that hit me greater was like, you know, cats, why this happened to me, and then you get caught up in, I'm not trying to get religious on your sins or the misdoings. Dude went to 7 o'clock mass that morning at a Catholic church, and he was headed to his girl's game that he was supporting that he didn't even have to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was a family man. That's part of the reason why he had the helicopter. You guys realize that, right? Like so that he didn't have to deal with traffic. He could get back. He picked him up in a carpool.
And had been doing that for years.
Yeah, he started like 06, they were saying. He got in traffic and missed the play and decided. But still, that's some savvy thinking of like, yo, how am I? You know, it wasn't a floss thing.
Right. And I was also reading that it was
king, like, yo, I only take
I was also reading it had to do with like just, you know, the body of an athlete too. Like they're like, man, this man can't afford to be sitting in a car for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? His knees, his ankles, his back. You know what I'm saying?
So, I mean, that's the thing. First thing you go, he's flossing. Why was he doing? No, dude, he was doing that for family purposes. It's deep. Which all sort of still plays into his story of, you know, kind of, you know, the selfish player that, you know, had no social skills and got caught up in the situation in Colorado, that he became a family man who mentored many that had a love for his family and his girls. Like, that's the real rebranding.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it was crazy you said the connected thing, the connective tissue, because as we were all Sunday, I believe anybody who's a hoop fan at all was just like blown away. And I was just like, I found myself like, I called my brother, I called my cousin Jeremy, like cats that are from LA or from Southern California that have been Lakers fans their whole life. It was like me calling somebody and one of their family members had died or one of their homeboys had died. Like it was genuine concern. Like, bruh, how you feeling? You know what I mean? Because he was that accessible.
My concern was, you know, just like everybody else found out, I found out about TMZ.
Yeah.
And I waited. You know, they're paying somebody to get them that kind of information.
Yeah.
But even his family found out that way first.
Right.
Even before they found out. Like, it's just, you know, I'm looking at it like, yo, that ain't real. Okay, I'm going to turn to CNN. And CNN says there's a helicopter crash. Okay, they ain't said Kobe yet, so it ain't real yet. It ain't real. And then once they, you know, it came out, and then the misinformation, Rick Fox on it was all 4 girls. Like, it's all over the place. So finally settle in to figure out what the real news is. But regardless if it was just him or not him, whatever, it's still lost. And
Absolutely.
It's still horrible. And then it isn't just even about Kobe. It was 9 people on that.
Absolutely,
on that craft. And, one was, I'm a junior college cat. One was
baseball coach.
Baseball coach at Orange County Junior College was out. My junior college was Fullerton. Another was a coach. Another was, parent, a mother. Even the pilot. You know what I mean? And
so many people lost people they love. You know what I mean? And then it's like, so many people, have said like, okay, well, don't forget about the 7 other people that were on that plane besides Kobe and his daughter. But on the flip side, you got to hear about that every day because Kobe was on that plane. Like, I just lost 2 family members in the last few months. I would hate to turn on the TV or be on social media and see their names every day. Like, that doesn't help with the grieving process at all. You know what I mean?
It's just a tough situation all the way around, for everyday folk. I mean, just dealing with it. It's just that Kobe was, we were part of his narrative for so many years.
Absolutely.
And watching him develop as a 17-year-old, me having the privilege to work with him and locally, and then even eventually when I was part of the basketball piece and the viral, him jumping over Ashton Martin, that was incredible. But you really think about it, I was the first athlete that really broke the internet.
Yeah.
And I like the way that you mentioned it like that really happened. The time that he jumped over to Ashton Martin. He just did it.
How did that even come about? Like, who in the world thought of him?
Well, the deal is it still played into the storytelling. And it was the 2K4, Hirachi 2K4, which was about flight, jumping. So it was exaggerating the narrative, so to speak. And obviously, Kobe had sort of the crazy hops. But it was a digital team. And we were at a point now where it was the beginning of the shift of, before, it was the poster. Athletes had the poster and the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was it. You had to have the poster. And then it became the actual TV commercial. But budget shift and the math is different, as we talked about earlier, talking over just, signature shoes aren't selling the same, basketball wasn't in, retro start coming in. So you just don't have money to do, you have more signature athletes, you just can't do commercials all over the place.
Right.
So this is the first attempt, as well as the consumers aren't, more now that way than then, but people were shifting away. Youth was shifting away from the TV standpoint. So how are you going to maximize this content?
Yeah.
So that was one of the first attempts. It was a good digital team. I can't remember the brother's name that actually did it, but we had a brother on the digital team and actually came up with the concept. I didn't know what Ashton Martin was, to be honest with you. Even before that, but came up with that concept. But that was a way of creating energy without having to buy an ad. And that was one of the first and probably the most successful. In that sort of landscape as it relates to
everyone was talking about it.
And that was even before social media was even really hit. It was a little bit, more your advanced people were sort of, because I struggled. I'll be honest with you, I struggled with the whole social media piece.
Okay.
Even earlier with the chat rooms. Like, man, they ain't in no chat room. Talk on my own. And, then the way they rolled out Facebook, was college students only first. Then it became, more of a thing. But I was like, y'all more of an in-person. But, those things sort of change the landscape, even what we're in there now, as it relates to the Kanyes and celebrities and sneakers and that whole thing. Because before it, it was either the sales associate on the floor, magazines, or an ad that created the energy about product, where now there's so much pre-program. It's not about a buzz. It's about going viral.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, you being a part of that, being one of the first, things to go viral, like you said, you was also a part of a team that was like one of the first to like have Nike actually like be in bed with brands of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was like the Wu-Tang Dunk or the Rockefeller Air Force One, like we saw synergies like that with Adidas and Run DMC, but
it was like a 20-year gap
between. You know what I'm saying? But this is like very direct. Like, hey, we sat down and talked about this and negotiated. So like, what was it like working through that? Was that a hard sell for either side?
I did it on a gorilla. I actually got written up.
That's how you got to do it sometimes. That's what I'm talking about.
It wasn't this mastermind, and I had no idea social media was going to become what it was, and Kanye was actually going to build shoes. But the thought process was I was trying to tell stories.
Right.
Some of the stories within sports culture happen naturally.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are hipped on the beef and broccoli.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
From a Timberland standpoint.
Yeah.
That's the hood doing
Yeah.
it. They told them stories.
Yeah.
Or the, rice and chicken, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, that was happening sort of or organically. As it related to the Wu-Tang dunk, I used to travel quite a bit. I'm an LA cat. Mm-hmm. We wore white sneakers. We did our K-Swiss.
Yeah,
we weren't
absolutely.
I'm being 100. We wasn't Air
Absolutely.
Force One heads. And
Right. Yeah.
Basketball, even though Cooper was in them, basketball was cool, but it was a lot of things that inspired us because all the sports we played, because the weather's sort of a different. So I had to learn, sneaker culture in the other markets. I had boys that was on my JUCO team that were from New York, so I went to New York and hit Jamaica Ave when I was in college and was blown away because retail's different on the West Coast.
Yep.
It's mall driven. We don't walk.
Yeah.
So there ain't no, mom and pop stores. You need to be in a mall to be popping because that's how we typically shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Before that, it was a sporting goods.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was authentic sports. We was talking earlier. You couldn't wear NBA socks unless you were
In
an
the
athlete.
game. Right.
in the
Right.
game.
Right.
It really wasn't until what we called dope boys came around that started to change a bit.
Right.
From a dope boy sort of standpoint that became currency with feelers and sort of other things. So I had to learn the other markets. Like we wore white sneakers all year. Mm-hmm. On the East Coast, or I-95 and even Chicago, Timbs and boots. And we didn't wear boots
At all.
that wasn't a currency.
no need.
So I had to learn the seasonality and what mattered. So I used to travel to eventually the world, but initially it was primarily New York and Midwest and even Detroit a little bit. And I knew Atlanta a bit, but Atlanta was a gumbo, especially back then because so many people were here for so many different places. So it was still a good market, Freaknik sort of era. But I used to travel to markets and build my networks. So record labels, other urban land. Nike's apparel wasn't necessarily that strong then, so I would feed cats my color palette, because I had what everybody was wearing.
Yeah.
So from a Wu-Tang standpoint, actually a French dude, Combe Contrail, actually worked at Loud Records. And he was an avid sneaker fan, and we were just building, and I had relaunched the Dunks. That's a whole nother story, but I had relaunched the Dunks because they're overselling Air Force One, so I had to really one season I yanked Air Force Ones and I had relaunched the Max 95s. I'd pull all that stuff out of the line because we were overselling the products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, yo, y'all gotta let me cut the molds. Because back then, they wouldn't really let me reintroduce. It was like a big thing to bring a shoe back and rebuild it. A lot of
Now
the molds
that's
were
the
gone.
damn business
Now
model.
it's a business, but it was a big thing. So I sort of held Air Force Ones and Max 95s, which had only been introduced back for one season. I had held them hostage and had a line of just basic product.
Yeah.
To use that to make the point that we need to re-bring some products back. So when we did bring back the Dunks, Bo Jacksons, and the rest of that, I relaunched them, but they oversold them. Foot Locker bought too many. I think they might have bought 70,000 pair, which is nothing nowadays. But then it was, because you need to build something up. So this is early part of spring. Like in August, I had the Iowa coming. More challenging colorway. You sort of already bought it. So in building with Cat at Loud Records, like, yo, we need to do something together. And that's how we, sort of put together. Did a logo, did about 100 pair, gave them 50, I kept 50. And we seeded it. It was about the buzz. It was no internet. It was word of mouth. Did you know, you didn't. But then the internet came, and that's where it became sort of a legacy play.
You got a pair?
Yeah.
Still got a pair.
And then I ended up doing the Air Force One. I got a warning then, and then when I did the Air Force One, I actually worked with a retailer. I actually didn't deal with Jay or Rockefeller, but a retailer had a relationship with Jay.
Was it?
Udi.
Okay, no, that's not what I was thinking.
Udi Training Camp. He is or was president of Yeezy. He's living in Calabasas now.
Gotcha.
But he had the bridge. Actually, first pair I put together, it actually wasn't an all white. Jay was like, yo, that's all I wear. So I had to remix it, did it, launched it, and, you know,
That's
rest
amazing,
is sort of history.
man.
But again, it was to create buzz. There was no retail on it. But again, another narrative of, you know, storytelling that played in, you know, in a much bigger way once the internet hit, because those stories became more important.
So was the Wu? I'm trying to no. So the alphanumeric came before either of those, right?
No, the alphanumeric
was after?
came.
And this, we're getting into like real deal sneakerhead talk. So just bear with us. Google it. Alphanumeric Dunk Nike.
Alphanumeric actually came as I was transitioning out.
Okay.
I had a relationship with Alphanumeric for years. I was very fond of Ali Ashimore. He was actually one of the first designer of Fat Farm. But he was a brother that was a skate kid from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? All what's playing in today. It saddens me that Alphanumeric doesn't still exist, because they were before their time, and they would be on fire right now as it relates to where the market is sort of headed. And being an LA cat, you know, I'm originally from Compton and Watts, Linwood, East Side. And then I moved out to the suburbs. So what's going on now with this hybrid of, you know, urban with skate, and, you know, even when Wayne and all of them were sort of doing that, we was doing that in the 80s.
Yeah.
We were wearing Vans in the 80s. Like, I remember you couldn't give away Vans on the East Coast. So you're hearing this now, like, you're talking, you know, they were hitting in the 70s, but everybody in LA at one point wore them in the 80s. But the alphanumeric came around 2000, 2001. I was actually transitioning out. We put it together. A cat named Jesse Leva took it, like finished it up, because I had to get out of Portland. And I ended up going to the brand side. We're transitioning out, but again, seeded the product. But that was, my thought process there was, I was trying to get Nike into SB then.
Yeah.
Right.
And they tried to put me in a box in the fact that I was just urban.
Gotcha.
But I had an understanding of both sides based on my upbringing. You know, I had some hood experience. I was an athlete, and then I grew up in the suburbs. So I wore Vans and OP and Lightning Bolt and Thunder. You know that, like, these are early surf brands. 'Cause there really was no skate brands. Surf and skate were.
Yeah, I had some
were
OP back in the day.
same thing.
Ocean
So
Pacific.
you know, sort of blending that together, and I knew, like, yo, if we could bring back the Dunks and all, and that was more East Coast driven. Because the Dunks and Jordans and all that happened, but it was more Venice Beach. But real skate was surf driven. And Vans and that sort of deal. It was the East Coast that brought that. But I still knew that there was room there that we could get after it. And I felt that if we could bridge with alphanumeric, they didn't do footwear, that if we blend those two together, that could be the start. The late Sandy Bodecker ended up getting appointed head of SB. He took over, and then they got the keys, and a lot of stuff that I wanted to do, he had the keys to do, and they went after. But the alphanumeric was really the first SB or entry in that space.
So what are your, because, like, you know what I'm saying, being that you was instrumental with the Wu-Tang and the Rockefeller shoe, it's like, you know, Nike, Adidas, everybody's connecting themselves with some kind of rap now, whether it's like, you know, you got your partnerships like, you know, Yeezy and Adidas, which is cool, because it seems like he's actually in there creating new things and actually hiring cats that used to work at the New Balances and the Reeboks that really design stuff. And then you have other brands like a Nike where it's like, we're going to just change the color of this shoe and put somebody's name on it and maybe add another material on there, and voila. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are your thoughts on, like, so many sneakers coming out with, you know, like, celebrity names attached to it? Do you think it's good?
Well, I have to separate myself from what it's really about.
Okay.
It's kind of like, you know, trap from a hip hop perspective. It's a different time.
Right.
You know, when RB, you know, our parents are looking at us crazy when we went sort of the hip hop. My thing is that we're getting so far away from sport. And I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
I like that smoothie of blending both together.
Yeah.
And we're getting away from that. What I question is, and we were talking about this earlier, is how long does Adidas run gonna last? And it's last longer than it ever has, but it's based, there's the internet, there's this popular, not pop culture, but popular celebrity culture that's sort of going on, so it's a different currency. Puma's had their runs. Is this really gonna last. I like something about the authentic sport,
Right.
and really getting after it. But the challenge is that the expectations are so high.
And it's hard to tell because, like, I think right when you think that it's going to simmer out, something else happens and it stays there. Because, like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is going to get old fast. But then you realize, okay, people buy shoes for different reasons. And it's like when Adidas got into the whole, they're just going to make sock shoes all the time. It's like, folks like that. Like, man, these are comfortable and it goes with everything, so I don't really care. You know what I'm saying?
What I'd like to see is an authentic designer, a celebrity, and an athlete start their own brand.
Right.
From the jump.
Yeah.
And blending it together on that way. Like, we want ownership in teams. And to me, that, like, I think the blending of both, like, you can't just make equipment, but it can't just be some hype boy.
Right.
Stuff to me. Yeah. But again, I'm different than these kids now.
So it's like,
I don't have a strong, complete, again, I love what he's doing. Yeah. I know he's magical, but I don't have a complete love affair with what Kanye's doing, but he's winning. And I have to listen.
Yeah.
I can't be the old dude in the club or talk about what it used to be or the rest of it. I got to understand because it's a new generation and this is their time. But there's something about an authentic sandwich that I like.
So that three-headed monster that you just kind of brought up, we almost had it with Big Baller Brand. Almost had it, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff came out in the later news. It was like, damn, man, y'all didn't have y'all stuff together. But like,
the problem with the Big Baller Brand to me was the thought process was there. The challenge was you talking about how much the shoe costs versus the features and or the abilities of the athlete. The other thing I would have done is I would have went to one of the brands first and positioned myself.
Okay.
And let my game and let them position my logo. Mm-hmm. Then stepped off.
Right.
But to try to do it off the gate, as you can see, it hasn't worked out through injury from the shoes. I wrote an article on it. Like almost everything that happened, I predicted, not from a hate standpoint. I just kind of know the cadence. You know, the celebrity pieces revved up a little bit more, but I kind of know the cadence of launching things. There's too much pressure on the kid coming out that he's got a ball, his dad is in the news, he's wearing, really, elevated skippies. You know what I mean?
Skechers.
It was snake oil. Yeah, but the concept was there, but if you really had a great designer telling great stories, ease it out. But I think the formula is going to a brand, having them use your logo, you owning the logo, you having your brand direction, so it's a partnership. Then breaking away once your game has positioned itself. Look at it now. Like, bottom line, you got a ball.
And the funny thing
bottom line, you got a ball.
If they would have done that, imagine the position they'd be in when LaMelo gets into the league.
Right, or maybe there wasn't even a position to do it. Maybe he was the one.
He was. Like, we knew about LaMelo before we knew about Lonzo.
You take that brick brand money.
Yeah.
Then once LaMelo kicks off, then y'all come together and do the ball thing, and it just became about pops, and I think it's intentions aware. Like, I went to school with the mother, like, so there's no hate as related to that. I just think the thought process was there, just the cadence and the way they went about it. I would have done it differently, but
Got you.
That's their deal.
You brought up Puma earlier, and I think that they're doing a great job with, like, the as close as you want to call it, the grassroots marketing of this Nipsey line that's about to launch. What do you think of how they're approaching it, and what do you think it's going to do?
I think the Nipsey piece, I mean, I like it. Again, it's still sitting in the celebrity piece. Obviously, it's feeding more, unfortunately, because of his death.
Passing,
So it's kind of hard to judge it. Is it a sympathy situation? Regardless, my deal is, do things have legs?
Yeah.
And Kanye's situation has elevated. I didn't think the transition from Nike to Adidas went well. I don't have no problem saying when I'm wrong, but it has. But as he talks about being billions of dollars, and we're starting to see more on the shelves, it's about you can't compare yourself to Jordan till at least till you have 12 solid shoes.
Jesus sold the jump, man.
Yeah.
At least till you have 12 solid shoes.
Yeah,
that's
true.
12 years of just killing it. And you're not just buying the shoes, you're buying the memories and the stories that go with it.
I gotta be honest, I really can't tell the difference between version 1 and version 2. It looked like the same shoe in a different colorway every time.
Those kids do.
Yeah,
we got to see if it lasts. Again, I'm just trying to play in a neutral. My deal, I have an on the pair. I don't necessarily have an interest. I don't hate. I want that man to win. Right. Whatever sort of going on. I just sit from a different place, and I still have the sports piece that's sort of in me. There's just a currency there, and it's kind of like music to me. I don't have to never buy a new pair of sneakers, a new design ever again.
Right.
That's enough from my history that I got enough to choose from, just like music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I find something that's new, I can mess with it. But I really, there's enough where I can satisfy. There's more than enough for me to be able to find a selection, especially with them re-releasing them, to buy enough product where I don't have to never buy a new sneaker again, and I won't feel like I'm out or, outside.
What's your favorite silhouette?
To be honest with you, it's an Adidas sneaker. I love the Adidas LA Trainer.
Okay.
It's from the '84 Olympics. Has the 2 pods.
Yeah.
Something very European. I just like it because a lot of cats don't wear it here. It's slick, and I'm not trying too hard.
Got you. Is it safe to say that your work on limited edition and then sportswear is the reason why it's very difficult to get my favorite shoes?
That was part of the strategy. Like our deal was the deal is it used to be dessert.
Okay.
So in line was main dinner. Got to eat your vegetables and get your protein.
The monarchs and all that shit.
Right. And LA and LE was never sport. It was always LE when I was there. It became sports where it became a division when I was there. It was always dessert. It was supplemented. But the market shifted so much, they couldn't get the new innovations to sort of be sort of the centerpiece. So now it's probably a 50-50 split, if not, probably even more the other way some of sportswear. So it's a whole different equation, but the market dictates that. But I still think that you have to keep innovating. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to be in a situation like Vans, like they're on fire right now, but what happens when that falls off? You gotta have this products now that are being retro that didn't sell when they first came out.
Absolutely. Shawty, I'm seeing shoes where it was like, bro, these were busted when I was in 10th grade. Nobody looked at these. You know what I'm saying? And then they come out in 2016, they want $200 for them.
Yeah.
But again, it's a different generation of kid, different cat going after that. And you have to, so that's why you have to keep innovating, because you may be able to remix or bring something back.
I remember when the Arab Bacons were sitting for like $20-$30 at factory outlets for months. And then they came back and people actually bought them.
Well, look at right now, the hottest shoe right now, Air Jordan 1s were on sale.
Yeah.
I remember when they first retro, it was a thing to look at, but it's like,
but even when they first came out, in some markets,
they were just sitting
because they were selling everywhere. They were exporting goods everywhere. So some spots, it was too fast. They didn't sell it. So that's how skate kids started messing with them, is because they're like, I can get these for cheap. They're kind of radical. I'm on it.
Yeah.
They wasn't paying the straight cash. So it's like you have to keep innovating and pushing the window, because if you just relying on 1 or 2 shoes, if it dies off or something hiccup comes, you're out of the game.
Do you see? I feel like we're seeing more and more shoes, like the hype beast shit is calming down. Do you agree with that? Do you see the limited edition thing going another way?
It's the resale piece, dude. It's
okay.
A currency,
that resale
man. It's an economy.
Yeah.
And I think what's even going to grow it even further is, now the Chinese and their population is crazy. You're jumping on it. Mm-hmm. They're on different, platforms.
Right.
And I think StockX and some are trying to bring it together. So continue to be sort of life that may transition, outside of here. But that's what's driving the market right now is resale.
Yeah, I feel like I'm seeing shoes like we were talking about off the air. There was a time when you would never see a Yeezy sitting in the store. There was a time when anything that Off-White did would be sold immediately. But now you can get, it may not be the hottest joints, but they still have some
Who's
that
next?
I get a RSVP email about once a week talking about these alpha whites that's still sitting there. You know, that have been there for months.
Yeah, it's what's next.
Yeah.
Like
Gotcha.
me, like Zion, where I would launch new athletes, I wouldn't even give them a signature shoe off the jump.
Right.
I'd have them do collaborations with artists.
Yeah.
Then you're blending sports and
Absolutely.
culture together.
Absolutely.
Figure out who he is, then do a signature shoe. And I still may hybrid some of that to create, you know, sort of more energy as it relates to that.
They got to do it right though, because you know sometimes you know they just be giving anybody a damn
So
shit.
you don't want no more Dadas coming out. You don't want to read that.
No, I don't want no more future Pumas. It's like
Yeah. That's a lick though. That's a money grab though. Like,
I think the next Bo Jackson will be what I call half T sports and half E sports. So imagine somebody that's number one pick in basketball and is just as dope in one of the esports platforms.
yes.
And him having a signature shoe.
Yeah. That would be hard. That would definitely be
It
hard.
has flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. That would be
yeah.
hard.
yeah. Let's take it even further since we're on Mamba. Like, it speaks a couple languages.
Right.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's, you know, that could really, you know, sort of happen, you know, but that's, you know, the more you have this fusion of bringing these worlds together, those are the icons. That's the cats. Listen, you know, when I was in, you just had to have a Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
That was it.
Right.
Then
Absolutely.
it became, you know, flavor, and then, you know, now there's, you know, the esports coming in. You know, cats got to have a social media page and got to have some, like, there's much more to it than it once was. It was so once dimensional, and then it becomes, you know, much more. Even like Kobe from a hoop standpoint.
Right.
He was, I called him 3D with hops. He could three and D and hops. You know what I mean? Like, those are different dynamics. That's our expectations. If not, it's like watching, you know, I have a problem with the sneaker market because it's like watching grass grow.
Yeah.
Because there's not much movement. For the young kids, it's new to them. Now, I got money, I can get into it, but you've been into it, man. It's like, then you see some
same
things that
stuff.
sort of push a little bit, but it's that disruptive piece. And Kanye, for them, has been that. But what's next after? You know, Virgil gave a hit. What's next?
Yeah.
What's next after that? It's,
I think to an extent they thought that Fear of God was going to be that, but it was quick. You know?
I know Jerry. I still think there's some room there.
Yeah.
I think what he was trying to do, where he actually did a performance basketball shoe, unfortunately didn't perform, and I guess Nike Design's going to play a little bit more in the next one. But he's pushing the window.
Yeah.
Where it's just a cool shoe. Like, he saw something that's actually
functional.
You know, Kanye has, I think that's his next dimension. He has actual basketball shoes.
You got big. They've been showing pictures of it for like a year or two now.
So it'll be
you know what I'm
interesting to
saying?
see if that works and that's functional. Because I also hear he's going into Dick's, and I think that's part of it. If he gets into true sports, that could be kind of disruptive. And it won't be the sellout formula, but he's established himself as a
Which
brand.
is what he said from jump, that he didn't necessarily want it to be that. So,
So if he has layers of that, there's a layer that's, you know, sort of essentials or fundamentals, and then he has something sort of elevated. I just think it has to continue to evolve. I think, to me, that's what's disappointing about the Jordan brand. They never got the apparel together.
Nope.
They only have a basketball logo. So it's pretty one-dimensional.
Yeah, because nobody really wanted to like walk around in a whole Jordan outfit. Like, you kind of got clown for
since
that.
the 80s or early 90s.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could get away with like some of the black cement stuff, but it's like just head to toe. You only see like your grandfather doing that.
To me personally, they left $1 billion on the table if they would have just developed a basic fleece program like Ralph Lauren with the Jumpman logo.
Yeah.
And had base colors, and then had seasonal, you know, updates. Just that basic fleece, you know, that mint money, simple, not baggy, traditional cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just clean, but a very elevated, you know, cashmere type fleece. Like, that's, like, to me, there was such a miss. And Mike necessarily isn't this stylish off the court, but there was an era where he was solid and looked upon as fine. They never. Now then, that's ways it doesn't need to be Jumpman. You could have done it subtly, you know. don't know if you guys are familiar with Paul Smith. That's my favorite designer. Very elegant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just touches, just hits where you don't need to see the logo. You know that that's Jordan. Like
right.
They didn't have to do it that way. Like that ends up being the easy way to do it. Let me just put the logo there. It's kind of like driving down North Side, and I hadn't noticed this time, but the Benz logo actually on the stadium is like upgraded to hood to a certain degree. I just had noticed, but today I was just driving down like
hilarious.
Versus it just being the Georgia Dome.
That's true. That's very true. Yo, before we get up out of here, man, it's become one of our favorite parts of the show. We host a trivia night here in Atlanta. Follow us, on Hip Hop Trivia ATL or go to thehiphoptrivia.com. We're going to ask you 5 questions.
Uh-oh.
They all have something to do with your history.
Okay.
Don't lean in too much. You might see the answers.
Okay.
All right.
That's what he was doing.
Don't start.
Oh, no.
Start pretty easy. All right. What was the first rap group to do a sneaker collab?
Run DMC.
Yeah, Run DMC.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I told you, we're starting easy. Starting easy. All right. We discussed Kobe earlier. You worked with him in the past. Another easy question. What high school did Kobe Bryant attend?
Marion.
Lower Marion. Yeah, they can't hear you, man. You gotta
Lower Marion.
Yeah. All right. A little bit more difficult, but if you really think about it, you'll know. What city in America has the most strip clubs per capita than anywhere else?
Atlanta.
Nope.
No. Portland.
Yep. Portland, Oregon. They're all terrible, but they got more of them. Question number 4,
Yes.
probably one of the hardest questions on here. You worked at Ralph Lauren. Lauren is not Ralph's actual last name. What is Ralph Lauren's government last name?
I can't give you that.
You don't know?
I know he's of Jewish descent.
Yeah.
Don't know how to.
The last name is Lifshitz.
Lifshitz, yes.
Lifshitz
Yes.
is his real last name. Government last name,
Yes.
as they
And
say.
they go in depth on the documentary of like why.
Yeah.
And they were just like, nobody wants me to be called a lift shit,
But that's actually a common practice of a lot of the Jewish community.
Oh, yeah.
And they would change their name because they felt some of the discrimination.
Right.
we
Yeah.
did, but
Exactly.
they could change their name. They could just sort of blend in.
Right.
This is true. This is very true.
We still sort of we don't have that ability.
Yeah, we don't.
with Washington,
Yeah.
and Jackson,
Exactly.
and Thomas.
We have the right last name.
Exactly. Final question, multiple answer question. We talked about the history of the Wu-Tang Dunk and how it came together. Tell us 5 members of Wu-Tang Clan.
Meth.
Mm-hmm.
Old Dirty Bastard.
Yeah.
Wizard.
Yeah.
Raekwon.
Yeah.
The Chef.
Yeah. Raekwon the Chef.
Raekwon, this
already
is
said
the
the
same
same
guy.
Person. Raekwon the Chef. That's one more.
Shaheem.
Nope.
He was
Shaheem wasn't a member. And I'm amazed. First of all, you need to just get points for knowing who Shaheem is, period. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, you was almost there.
Did I say Meth?
You said Meth.
I said O.
Yep.
Ray.
Yep.
I'm lost.
You lost. You could have said the Jizza.
The Jizza, right.
Ghostface, you
Ghostface
got Master
Killer,
Killer. Yeah. Inspector Deck.
Yes.
All right. Cool. That's not bad, man. That's not bad at all. You was almost there. Almost perfect
Should have
score.
done better.
It's all good, man. We
All
appreciate you coming through. I want you to, before we leave, please plug your agency and where people can find you and things of that nature.
Yeah, I have a agency. I am Brand I Am. Do consulting on storytelling. Have an Instagram page, Brand I Am Global, or me, Drew Greer, the real Uncle Drew. LinkedIn, I do storytelling there. I have
Really good
Instagram.
storytelling.
Yeah. I was like, damn, I
I've
need to
written
get back
about
on
40
that.
articles. I haven't written anything lately, but next up have LA from a sneaker history standpoint. Looking to do possibly Atlanta.
Okay.
And I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you coming through. Most definitely. We appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate y'all watching. We will see you next week with another dope show. Peace.